Hey, what's going on YouTube? PB the Fox with Ravnica Historical Society here today. Big announcement, just went live at 11 a.m. Brainstorm is suspended in Historic, so let's talk about that. Alright, so I'm going to read through the whole thing here because I haven't actually read through the entire article yet. It's pretty short, and it's the only thing. Historic, Brainstorm is suspended, effective tomorrow. In the banned and restricted announcement for Historic in June, we mentioned that we were keeping an eye on the high play rate and perceived dominance of blue-red decks in general and Brainstorm in particular. As we watched, we saw an interesting pattern emerge. Though decks like Izzet Phoenix and Jeskai Control represented a metagame share that usually indicates a dominantly powerful deck, their win rates have generally been fair and healthy. For example, Izzet Phoenix was approximately 30% of the metagame in the July Strixhaven weekend, which is a very high percentage for one deck to claim, but its win rate was only 51.5%, far from dominating or threatening. This matches our internal data, which consistently showed Izzet Phoenix with a win rate a bit above 52%, and Jeskai Control a bit above 51% in high-level best-of-3 play, so probably Mythic and then Ranked Mythic. Given these low win rates for Izzet Phoenix and Jeskai Control, and the presence of multiple other archetypes with strong records against both decks and the rest of the field, we expected to see the metagame share of these decks decline over time. Nope. Though we saw some reduction, the combined metagame share among high-level players in best-of-3 ladder play declined steadily from 17% in mid-June to 14% more recently. These two decks have remained the most played there, usually by a good margin. I think anyone can agree with that. When evaluating a format, our goals are generally to create a balanced, fun, and diverse metagame. While decks like Izzet Phoenix and Jeskai Control are not showing win rates that threaten balance, their steadily high metagame share is certainly harming deck diversity, which in turn reduces the fun of the format. We are seeing some motion to correct this. The rate of change is too gradual to quickly address the format imbalance. To improve format diversity, Brainstorm is suspended in Historic. Boo. We'll get to that in a second. While our most recent actions in Historic have been bans, such as those for Time Warp and Thassa's Oracle, those were cases where we had clear and convincing data showing the cards were problematic. In this case, the data is less clear, and that is exactly where we prefer to utilize suspension. Boo. We will continue to monitor the Historic meta closely to see if it reaches a point where reintroducing Brainstorm seems safe, or if we should move to fully ban Brainstorm. Okay, so, from what I'm getting from this, even though Jeskai and Phoenix weren't too powerful, they were too pervasive, and there was no reason to play another deck, which kind of means they're too powerful, right? The thing I super hate is that, where is it? While they're not showing win rates that threaten balance, their high metagame is harming deck diversity, which reduces the fun of the format. If they wanted deck diversity, then why didn't they suspend Expressive Iteration, which is a card that hits really only these two decks and leaves a bunch of other decks free to play Brainstorm, like Rogues and Blue-Black Control, and people's weird, like, blue, what is it, the Simic Aggro decks or the Simic Flash decks. Like, there are so many other decks that could play Brainstorm that would not nearly be as powerful as Phoenix and Jeskai Control. But instead of banning the card that was actually the problem from those two decks, they hit Brainstorm because Brainstorm's a scary card. And what I hate the most is this suspension bullshit, because what's going to happen tomorrow is now none of us can play with our Brainstorms. Most people are going to have to build a new deck. Like, Phoenix and Jeskai Control can still play. They just both play Opt. Okay, so here's what's going to happen moving forward. These Izzet Phoenix decks are going to take these 4 Brainstorms and replace them with 4 Opts, and the deck is basically the same. These Jeskai Control lists are going to replace... Is this deck not even playing Brainstorm? See, here's the thing. These decks don't even always play Brainstorm. This one's not. And what was this? This was the 5th place list from the Historic Open. Historic, let's look up best of 3 archetype... Jeskai Control. What? July 8th? That's not super old, but is Historic Jeskai Control going to be what it's called more often? I guess so. Okay. Not that one. But here we go. Let's look at some different Jeskai Control lists here. Does this one play Brainstorm? No. Does this one play Brainstorm? Yes, it plays 4. Does this one play Brainstorm? No. So that's pretty, well, this one, no one plays these cards. That one's weird. These are pretty standard lists. Let's just open up a couple more of them. Here's Seth Manfield's list. Does this one play Brainstorm? 4. Does this one play Brainstorm? 3. All of these people are just going to be replacing their Brainstorms with Opts, and this deck chugs along as usual, thanks to the insane late game power of Expressive Iteration. This card gives you 2, right? 1 into your hand, 1 exiled that you can play that turn. So even though this sort of looks like a fake Brainstorm, it actually gives you 2 cards, which is insane. It's card advantage. It's not card neutral like Brainstorm or Opt. This is actually just card advantage. Same with, if we go back to Phoenix, they're literally just going to replace the Brainstorms with Opts, and this deck gets powered down just a little bit. Same with Jeskai. This deck gets hurt more without Brainstorm, but it's still able to perform just fine. Yeah, most people are playing Brainstorm. Some people are not, which goes to show you that this deck is still going to continue to dominate. Historic Jeskai Control might just be the best deck now, because we can just put a Rest in Peace in the main instead of the Cage. Rest in Peace is just better. And, well, I guess it's pretty bad with this. So you kind of have to give up the Torrential Gear Hulk, Magma Opus, Mizzix Mastery. You give that up to play Rest in Peace if Phoenix is still good without Brainstorm. If Phoenix isn't good enough without Brainstorm somehow, which I do not foresee that happening at all. But if Phoenix somehow falls off the map, then this is the best deck by far. But the reality is, tell me, by getting rid of Brainstorm, are you really creating space for different decks? Because you're not. You're hitting the top 2 decks just ever so slightly, where, again, I can't say this enough. They're just going to replace the Brainstorms in their lists with Opts and keep doing the exact same thing at like a 5% less consistency rate. Like, Brainstorm is definitely better than Opt, but not by, you know, leaps and bounds when it comes to Historic. It's better by like 5%. But is suspending, right? So not only are a bunch of people now not able to play their Brainstorms and not getting wild cards to replace them with something else, which I hate for an entirely different reason, but like, does red-green aggro come back now? Probably not. Is like green-white company any better because Brainstorm's gone? Not really. Like, Rogues plays Brainstorm, so that deck just got a little bit worse, but and they can just play Opt too. It's not going to help, obviously, because Rogues was already not that great. I'm so flustered with, like, Brainstorm was just the dead-ass wrong card to hit. Like, if they wanted to get rid of Brainstorm, they just should have also suspended Expressive Iteration. My big prediction here is that within the next 6 weeks, we probably see Brainstorm just get banned straight up, and we probably see Expressive Iteration being looked at as the next card to suspend or ban. Because this suspension doesn't open up new space. It just makes the best decks a little bit worse. Like, you're not taking away their ability to do the broken good things that they're doing. You're just taking away some of their consistency, which is not going to be enough opened up space to allow these old decks to come back in. Like, Jund Food doesn't get any better because of this, other than the fact that these decks just got a little bit worse. So this is really, like, I really thought that Wizards was going to hit the right card this time. It's weird to me that they hit Brainstorm. I know a lot of people are going to be happy to see it go because they're afraid of Brainstorm, and that's fine. Like, if they don't want Brainstorm in the format, I get it. Maybe Thoughtseize and Inquisition just got a little bit better, but not really. Like, those cards were already pretty okay. They weren't mediocre. They were better than mediocre, but they weren't great. They were, like, very good, and they're still just very good. They didn't get a whole hell of a lot better, because brainstorming in response to a discard spell is, I don't want to say the dream, but it's definitely, like, you can't just rely on having your brainstorms for it all the time. It's a line you can take, and now that line's not available. But discard spells are bad late game anyway, so not having Brainstorm for them is, again, that's like a 2%, 3% increase. But this is what it is. So we've been complaining for a while that Historic was kind of boring. I hope, really hope, that this is the jump charge that people need to do something different with the format. If it just gets rid of the number... See, that's the thing. If it just made Jeskai control a lot less played and it went down to like 8% of the metagame, I would be happy. But this suspension isn't going to change the numbers. I can almost guarantee the needle will not move. These become opts, and everybody who is playing this deck keeps playing it and realizes that it's still just really good. And anybody who's playing Phoenix makes these opts, and they basically don't notice that the card's gone. There's going to be like 1 in 10 games where they draw an opt, and they need to get their Phoenixes back online, and the opt misses, and they're like, damn, I wish that was a Brainstorm, so I got to see 1 extra card. But that's it. That's it. So it's not going to be this huge save the format change that I think a lot of people were hoping for. I could be wrong. I don't think I am. I really, really, really don't think I am. Just this, right? To improve format diversity, Brainstorm is suspended. Like, if you want to improve format diversity, you get rid of the blue-red card that was propping up the top 2 blue-red decks. That seems super simple to me. I can also see the argument for getting rid of both of them, but just getting rid of Brainstorm really isn't good enough. It hurts other decks more than it hurts these top 2 decks. Like, Dimir control, blue-black control, goodbye. You know what I mean? Absolutely gone now. There's blue-white control, also just like, why would you play blue-white when you could play Jeskai? Now there is almost zero reason to stick to straight Azorius control. Almost no reason at all. So they've knocked the 2 other control decks out of the metagame completely and barely hurt the 2 decks that were dominating the metagame. And I guess not dominating the metagame is also not exactly how I'd say it, but being like far and away the most recognized, popular, most played decks. Interesting. Let me know in the comments, what are you all thinking about this? I know a lot of people are going to be happy. I'm pretty happy about any change, honestly. As much as I didn't want Brainstorm to be gone and I wanted Iteration to be gone, I'll take this over nothing, because nothing was going to make the next 3 months super boring. So maybe we'll see some big changes in this Brainstormless metagame. Maybe that deck Dom Harvey wrote about yesterday on Star City, the Tainted Pack list. Is Pioneer dead format? Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Pioneer fans, but it's basically dead. Although it's nobody's fault but COVID, really. Honestly, Pioneer had such a promising start, and then COVID shifted WotC's focus onto Historic because people could play that on Arena, and Pioneer got left by the wayside. I think Pioneer is a cool format. I think Historic should get a bunch more old stuff. I've kind of come around on this. Historic should just get a bunch more old powerful cards and be more powerful than Pioneer, and then maybe they could coexist, but that's the only way. Anyway, maybe this deck is more fun now, because without the control decks having Brainstorm, like, you replace this Brainstorm with some other card, right? I don't know. There's so many single cards. Oh, I was going to say Behold the Multiverse. But maybe, what's the one that cycles? Hieroglyphic Illumination. Maybe you just replace it with that, and you move on with your life. Dom would know more than me. But maybe we'll put this together and start playing this, because it was really, really fun when it was broken, and I think I have all the pieces to make this deck. So we'll take a look. Yeah. Interesting. We'll see how the format shakes out moving forward. It's definitely some welcome change, even if it's not the change I wanted. I would honestly rather take this over nothing, like I said. This is better than them ignoring the format until the next Historic Anthology comes out. I hope that we see some other changes. I would like, honestly, rather than cards leaving the format, I agree with most of Reddit that I'd rather just see other stuff pushed into the format to get these green-white decks off the ground. Like some aggressive Naya colored stuff would really be nice. It would really, really be nice. Other than that, yeah. Let me know what you guys are thinking. What's going on? Pretty exciting stuff. We're going to get out on the ladder, and we're going to push forward and see kind of what happens. I'm excited. I'm not as excited as I could be, but pretty excited. So again, let me know what you're all saying in the comments below. As always, I've been PB the Fox with the Ravnica Historical Society. You've all been awesome, and we'll see you back here tomorrow. Good luck, everyone.